Imagine if you found out that your parents were getting divorced, and then they told you that your dad was going to move 2 houses down the block into a nearly identical house that you had always lived in as a family. And then imagine if your parents even went so far as to buy the same furniture for your new bedroom at your dad's house and to put up matching wallpaper for your room. And they told you that your life would continue almost exactly as it had always been. Only you know that's not true because suddenly everything has changed. That's what happens to 13-year-old Sweet Pea in the book Dear Sweet Pea by Julie Murphy. You may recognize this as the book that I recreated for the book cover double challenge a few weeks ago. Sweet Pea's parents recently got divorced, and she never saw it coming. It turns out there are many things that she never saw coming, like the reason her parents can no longer stay together, despite the fact that they never fight and they're still best friends. Sweet Pea's best friend is a boy named Oscar, and they hang out together every Friday, even though now her days are split between her dad's house and her mom's house. But thankfully, she at least still has Oscar, and she still has her cat, Cheese. These are two of the only things that still feel normal in her life. You find out she used to have another best friend, Kiera, but in the 4th grade, Kiera stopped hanging out with Sweet Pea. She chose other friends that were skinnier than Sweet Pea and more popular than Sweet Pea. And it's always really bothered Sweet Pea. It was really hurtful for her. But now it's even worse because she has to sit right behind Kiera in school, and she can't seem to escape the reminder that it's her ex-best friend. You also meet her neighbor, which is an elderly lady named Miss Flora Mae. Miss Flora Mae is a little bit kooky. She keeps to herself inside the house. She hardly ever goes out, and she has an advice column in the local newspaper, which means that people send letters to her with their problems, and then Miss Flora Mae writes an answer back and puts it in the paper. Now Miss Flora Mae is going on vacation, and she asks Sweet Pea to pick up the letters for her each week and mail them to her on vacation so that she can keep answering them. But then one day while Sweet Pea is doing that, she can't stop herself from sneaking a peek at one of the letters. And she can't believe who it's from and decides to actually try answering it herself, pretending to be Miss Flora Mae. As the story unfolds, Sweet Pea finds herself caught up in friendship issues with both Kiera and also now Oscar. She's also keeping something from her dad, which she feels guilty about. And on top of it, her mom now has a new boyfriend, which is super frustrating to her because she feels like it's way too soon. Sweet Pea is really struggling to adjust to this new normal. This book is realistic fiction. There are some letters included, so the letters that people write to Miss Flora Mae and that Miss Flora Mae and then Sweet Pea write back to those people. It's a regular size chapter book. It has 30-some chapters to it. I would usually recommend this for 4th and 5th graders, but I'm also including it for 3rd graders as well because I think it really depends on who you are as a reader and what types of stories you like, what you're comfortable with, what your family is, comfortable with you reading. This book deals with a lot of identity issues that Sweet Pea and the other characters in the book are exploring. You have to remember that Sweet Pea is 13 years old, so she's in middle school. So there is some mention of crushes. There's a lot of talk about, some body issues. So Sweet Pea kind of exploring, what her weight means to her and she always really tries to have a strong, positive, healthy body image, but sometimes other people around her, might be more uncomfortable with her weight than she is, which frustrates her. The book also deals with a lot of friendship issues and with her exploring, her parents' divorce and the reason why they got divorced, which I won't tell you, but you'd find out if you read the book. I really like this book because it's so realistic. I think a lot of kids could relate to Sweet Pea and to some of the issues that she's struggling with. I like that she talks openly about her weight and that she has such a positive body image, even though, it's frustrating because sometimes the people around her aren't as encouraging as she would like them to be. I really like the suspense of Miss Flora Mae's advice column, and I found myself nervous wondering whether or not Sweet Pea would get caught answering some of the letters. I also really like Sweet Pea's parents, and I thought that they were really supportive, and I like how they talk openly with her about a lot of the issues that she and their family are going through. So, whose letter does Sweet Pea read, and does she get caught answering? Does Miss Flora Mae ever find out that she started answering her letters? Does Sweet Pea ever repair her friendship with Kiera? And if so, where would that leave Oscar? To find out the answers to all of these questions and to find out whether or not Sweet Pea can ever get her life back to some sense of normal, you would have to read Dear Sweet Pea by Julie Murphy. And this book is now available on Sora as well. Enjoy.